Good afternoon. My name is Rodney Kyle Barnard. It is January 14th, 2019, 10 p.m. The title of this video is Antisocial Behavior and My Theories on How to Fix That. Beginning, my theory is that people are becoming more and more centered around themselves rather than the people around them. We live in a world that everything is a need right now. Everybody else is the perpetrator and you're the victim. And I believe that the growing crime rate and the amount of antisocial behavior can be accredited to many factors, such as the lack of parenting through their childhood maltreatment, and so on. There's many psychological articles about that. People many times don't understand the severity of the impact of bad parenting, and they like to blame everything around them but themselves. They're more focused on themselves rather than what they're affecting. It's hard for a criminal justice system to look at this and look at all these situations and all these people that are committing antisocial acts and individualize these. And the problem is every situation is unique. Every situation is also complex, and it costs a lot of manpower and to fight these situations and fight the antisocial behaviors whole situation. This is why it's so important for us to have a structured and categorized form of law enforcement in order to remain the most effective as possible. With this advancement of crime, the different crimes, we need advancement of law enforcement and laws. There are several ways our criminal justice system can approach this problem. They can take the time and effort to break this down into individual categories, such as curb hopping or graffiti, theft. I mean, there's many things. The problem with this is it's going to take a lot of cost and manpower in order to achieve this. But they can put in the time and effort to break all these categories down and determine the severity as well as the punishment that would be attached to these said crimes. The problem with this option, though, is that punishing these people is not always the answer. In my short time of law enforcement, I learned that in many times a verbal consultation is greater than giving them a ticket or just a written punishment warning. Many times just that hearing the words come out of your mouth rattle them to their bones rather than looking at the piece of paper in their hand. Sometimes just talking to them has a greater effect. So with this, I believe instead of just slapping a punishment on many of these criminals, a counseling service would be a great benefit to their rehabilitation, such as like a foster father or mother, if you will. The need for these laws is great, but many times these are hindered from success due to the paradigms of these laws. And these paradigms of law can be broken down into three specific categories. These categories are the consensus, the conflict, and the pluralism paradigms. A consensus paradigm is the notion that most everyone has a similar belief, value, and goal, and that the laws of society are they reflect the view of the majority. The conflict paradigm is the concept that large groups of society contain fundamental differences, and the people in control drive all of the elements in society, even the laws. The pluralism paradigm is the idea that society holds many large groups of people that form coalitions and a dynamic exchange of power. People get confused many times how the law works and and how law enforcement officers work, and affects them greatly, including the safety of officers and the safety of the public around these officers. Many times this causes them to get a bad image, and this in turn causes the members of the public to not care as much for obeying laws and develop antisocial behaviors. Many times, people growing up, something that I hate is when parents tell their kids, "I'm gonna call the police. The police are going to come get you if you're being bad," and that causes these kids to become afraid and scared of police officers. When in reality, police are there to help. They're there to bring you to a greater good, to help you become a better you. But many members of society get caught up in this behavior, and they get caught by police. They have to go to court, and many of these people that have never been in court, they have a predetermined image of what court is. But these people that get caught by the police, they get to experience how the adversarial system works in the courtroom, and many discover that it's very different than what they thought. This structure is it involves people that come in and they have a presentation. They get together a presentation that includes all of their evidence and their thoughts, and thoughts that are in their favor. And all these things form this presentation, and they're brought before a judge and a jury. And this includes evidence of arguments, and they also interview witnesses on the stand, and the witnesses are many times controlled as to what they can and can't say in order to protect them from saying something that could blemish the case. The persons presenting are most likely represented by an attorney, and the object of the trial is to determine truth. It's not to attack the criminal or the people that are in question. It's not there to predetermine a punishment for them, but it's to bring all the facts into the light, look at all the information given, and to determine the action that needs to be taken. The adversarial system is very structured, and is a basis for all U.S. courts, and has been this way for many, many years. I believe that it's a great system, but we can start getting away from that in many cases in order to tailor fit it to each situation. I believe if we have elected officials that are trained and experienced in counseling, they could determine whether or not each criminal needed to spend jail time, get mental or psychological help, or both. They're pretty much the same thing. But many people are caught up in these antisocial behaviors and are rebelling, and they don't need punishment. They need guidance, because they have no idea what it's like to have integrity and live like a man or woman should live. They've never been showed. They don't have a good model. They don't know where to look. And so I believe if we had a system put into place to where we could determine what type of help these people could get, I think we could start looking towards a less adversarial system and more towards a tailored fit justice system.